Welcome to Dirt Live Off-Road Racing Show. And here's your host, George Antill.
Hey, welcome to Dirt Live. We're coming to you live here from the El Dorado Hotel and Casino in Reno, Nevada. Hey, tonight's guest, Jim Anderson, off-road racer, businessman here in Reno. We have Rick Murdock, the vice president here at the El Dorado Hotel and Casino. We have Shelby Hall representing the Off-Road Racing Hall of Fame. So stick around, watch this video of the week. We'll be right back here on Dirt Live.
Left and a tight right down in here. Good job. Left. Yeah, okay, he doesn't want any trouble. No, I ain't giving him none. He's over here. Careful, Mike. There we go. Thanks, guys. Left, 90. This is going to be a 180 right, 180 right, hard right. Thank you.
In the house. Right there by the other. Up on the roof, Mike Mitchell.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. Next up, we're going to show you a tech tip by TJ Flores, coming to you right here on Dirt Live. Check it out.
TJ Flores here with another tech tip, and I'm here today to talk about having the proper bolt shank on your bolts between your pivot tabs, or so you don't have failure out in the desert. Here's a description of what I'm talking about shanking a bolt. Make sure it's proper between the tabs. This is what you don't want, is where the threads show on the inside of your tab, and that creates a shear point and wear, and the bolts come loose. And make sure hole in your tab slop out, it becomes sloppy or wore because it doesn't distribute the load properly. And this is a perfect example of a proper shank bolt, is when the solid part of the shank of your bolt is between both tabs. I mean, this is actually a bolt that I've ran for 600 miles on this truck. I mean, it looks brand new. It's a F911. We mark our bolts after we torque them with a line, just so we know if they're coming loose or not during a race. So it's a good idea for, you know, new beginners prepping your own car to mark your bolts, and that signifies that your bolt's torqued and you know when it's coming loose. When it comes in the pit, it makes a faster pit stop. Okay. Well, here's a perfect example of why you should shank a bolt. Right here's where the tab was located, and this is off a customer card, and I see this a lot, and this is why I chose to have this as our tech tip this week, is because this causes a failure. I mean, it creates a weak point in there. It tears up your tabs, just like I was talking about when I was showing on my race truck. And this is what keeps you from finishing races, is little things like this, you know, that I can help you out with. Another problem I see in most vehicles is people not anti-seizing. Anti-seizing causes bolt galding, and what happens that is when the suspension is moving and it's galded, it causes the nut to come loose, and it causes another failure. This is a bolt we took out that had 600 miles on it, anti-seized. I prefer using like a Woodward's or Loctite product, and all you do is paste it on. You don't want to get it on the threads, because it does not allow the Loctite to do its proper job of keeping the nut tight through all of our harsh conditions. Well, when cutting a bolt I use a bandsaw to cut it off so I don't cause any extra heat to a bolt. And then you do a nice little belt sand taper so when you push the bolt in, it doesn't mess up the threads on the end. Kind of like this one. This one, they didn't belt sand it, they didn't anti-seize it, and it flares. It junks the nut or the threads when you install it. Like this is another bolt out of my truck from, you know, the last race, and I mean, it looks brand new when we're done. One of the reasons we use, you know, anti-seize, like I showed you before, the proper washers, having a AN washer with a bevel to it, and that bevel goes towards the head of the bolt. And what that does is there's a radius that's machined into a bolt, and if you put a flat washer in there, they tend to stretch that radius, which causes another failure in bolts. So, you know, just prepping a bolt and getting anti-seized and making sure the threads are clean, so you can install a red Loctite is what I prefer on almost everything I do except aluminum, and that just keeps that bolt ensured that it's going to stay tight, and torquing it properly. There's a couple different nuts that you could use in nut locking nuts that we use in off-road application, probably most, but I prefer a metal interference nut. This is a grade 9 metal interference nut, so its tolerances are very tight. You got to be very careful when you do Loctite. You got to put the Loctite placement where this nut's going to tighten up, not in the nut, because what happens is it overheats and it locks up too soon, and you don't get proper torque on it. The other style is a nylock interference nut, and anything that isn't a moving part on my car, this is what I use, is a nylock interference nut. A little easier to install, and you know, you throw them away after one-time use. And same with the interference nuts, I throw them away after one-time use. They're just to ensure my cars don't fall apart. One of my tricks we'll sit down. One of my tricks with washers is a standard grade 8 washer is a little loose on the bolt, you know, and that allows for the radius, and it distributes the load a little bit. But like on my suspension, I like my washer to be tight. I don't like no play in it, and they usually all have well-done washers, so it helps distribute the load. But this is a lot tighter to the shank of your bolt. So I really do prefer the AN style washers. They're hardened, and they're just a lot better for our application.
So
Once again, it's TJ Flores here with Champion Raceworks with another tech tip, and back to you, Dirt Live.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. I hope you enjoyed that tech tip. Thanks a lot, TJ. He's going to be doing more of those every week. We're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
The Eldorado brought you Power Pennies, where you get bonus spins for free play and bonuses follow you. Now, we're giving you more power to win with Power Ponies. Now win 5 times more on hourly races. More power to win. Win free play daily with random birthday bonus. Fantastic Friday slot tournaments. Win up to $1,000. Play Power Pennies at the Eldorado.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with Jim Anderson. Jim, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, George.
Another guy from Reno. You know, this race a couple weeks, and you're getting ready. I know you were going to race it, but not this time.
Yeah, we were going to race, and we're just so busy with work. We just can't get the team together and do all the prep with everything else that we've got going. So we're looking forward to just supporting other racers and doing what we can, and hopefully maybe pick up a ride even. So we'll see.
Well, you know, last week's show we had Rod Hall on, and the legend, and you got to drive his truck last year with his kid.
That was awesome. I had never drove, I drove a 7200 truck and got a chance to drive Chad and Rod's truck, 4-wheel drive truck. It's not truly a trophy truck, but they're going to actually run it this year in 6100. And we did fairly well. We had some issues about halfway through the race that gave us a lot of downtime, but the truck is a really good truck, and just to have an opportunity to race with a legendary family was something that I never dreamed that would happen for me.
And it was a credible race, the TV coverage. I mean, everybody was on camera.
Yeah, it was great. I don't think people realize how wonderful this race is. I mean, it's, you know, only the second year, but I mean, the spectator area, the contingency, the town of Reno just welcomed all the racers. There's so many things that you can do here in Reno, and that's why I moved here. I just love it here, so it's great.
Let's go back a few years and start with Jim Anderson. As a young man, you started racing what? What'd you start out with?
Well, as a kid, I pitted for John Baker, who was factory sponsored by Mitsubishi back in the heyday of the 7 trucks, 7 Unlimited trucks with, you know, Manny Esquera and the Mears and all those guys. And my first Baja was back in 1981 and had some pretty crazy experiences back then. And always dreamed of racing, got the opportunity to race, and have been addicted ever since.
But you know, you talked about earlier with off camera, you started in go-karts. Was that a little different, huh?
Yeah, I raced go-karts for about 5 years, raced all over the United States, won a couple championships, moved into a short little career in circle track in the speed trucks. Didn't really like the politics of it, and there was a few things that it wasn't for me, and I just always kept coming back to the desert and off-road racing.
So let's move on to was it Baja you first raced off-road, or in the United States?
My first race that I drove in was the Baja 1000, and came in second place that year behind Rob McCachran in 1600, and that was it. I drove home from that race and instantly ordered a race car, a Class 10 car, and never looked back since then. That was back in 2001.
Now you met your wife when about?
We met around 2000 working together. We got married, and the kind of wife I have, we got married and left right from our wedding and went straight to Baja. pre-ran the Baja 500, left the starting line with beer cans and a Just Married sign off the starting line of the Baja 500 in 2005.
Tecate cans right behind it.
Tecate
going down
cans,
the road.
yes.
So that's, you spent your honeymoon racing down Baja.
Racing the Baja 500. I knew I had a winner right there, and we've raced together ever since. Our children have raced with us, and our youngest is, he's actually pre-ran the whole 1,000 last year, and he can claim that he's been over the summit, and he's pretty excited about telling his friends that. So it's a great sport for the family as well.
So, you know, like Baja, second place behind Rob McCachran, that's got to be really incredible, but any bigger, like another win that really sticks there?
You know, it's funny, we've won the Baja 1000 several times. Last year I had an opportunity to drive 2 different cars, Class 10 car for the Boyers family, and my own old Class 5 Unlimited car, which won the race. Officially, my name's on there as a winner again last year, but I can't claim that because in Boyer's car we broke a transmission and I couldn't make the driver's change. So unfortunately, I can't take claim to that, even though the record books say that I was a driver on that team. Probably our most rewarding race, though, was not winning a Baja 1000. A few years back, it was a Peninsula run, and we had the team that we raced for had adversity after adversity, and we just kept coming and we replaced axles, steering, you name it, no reverse, and finished the race. And that was probably, believe it or not, one of my most rewarding races I've ever raced.
Just to finish with all the problems.
Just to finish, and the teamwork that it takes to get a car to the finish when you have problem after problem. And it's what draws me to off-road racing is, you know, the planning, the strategy, everything that you do, preparation, and it all goes out the window the second you leave the starting line and you have to take and adapt to the conditions so quickly in Baja and in off-road racing in general.
I mean, it's so quick it can change. I mean, a 5-cent part on your car could break, you know?
I lost the Baja 1000, the Dust to Glory year. Our Class 10 car was 3 miles from the finish. We were the 7th car on the road. We had a perfect race, and 3 miles, we were in town, and a detent spring broke on our transmission and locked the transmission up.
Oh, man.
3 miles from the finish. And so, yeah, a 5-cent part, a 15-cent part can cost you a race. And that was one that hurt probably the most of any race I've ever raced in.
Yeah, that would be very depressing, knowing 3 miles to go, and
Yeah.
That's it, man.
3 miles to go with a 45-minute lead, and couldn't finish.
No neutral or anything.
And locked in gears.
Man, that's crazy. Well, so I remember your 5 car. That was a good-looking car, Unlimited 5 that
Yes.
you raced. Did you like that better than the 10, or I know they're pretty close?
Oh, it's such a hard thing. I mean, the 5 car is probably one of the funnest cars I've raced. The problem with the 5 car is there's not a lot of cars racing, and so we always seem to be racing Class 10s and Class 12s. We were racing a race within a race. And the Class 10 is growing so big, so fast. It's extremely exciting to race the Class 10 car. You know, when you're starting to see 30 cars in a class, it's great for the sport, and I love the competition. We're planning on racing the 10 car. However, we have an opportunity maybe next year to race a Class 1 car. So we're looking into that right now.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the 10 car. Back years ago when you were first racing, definitely a different vehicle with the motors, you know, $30,000, $40,000 motor, and they don't, you know, maybe last 1 or 2 races. The cost was pretty expensive.
That's why we sold our 10 car back in the day. It was out of control, and with the new rules the way they are, that Ecotec motor, it's affordable, semi-affordable race class now. What we're seeing in the new 10 cars is they're so fast that maybe the engine issue's solved, but now we're running into transmission issues and CV issues that maybe we didn't have, you know, back in that time, because the cars are so much better. and we've just got to sort it out.
You know, I know last year we talked at the race, and I think some talk was they thought possibly a 10 car could have won this race overall last year.
I believe that even this year, I think it can again. This course is definitely set up for a nimble car, and a car that can just keep moving on this track. It's probably one of the, I wouldn't say the roughest as far as whoops and things like that, but the rocks, if you're in somebody's dust, there's rocks out there that can bend a wheel, it can hurt a car, and so you have to be a patient, smart driver here in the Reno race.
So pretty much in Baja, like I said, like I was asking Rod last week, a favorite spot? You guys spent your honeymoon. I mean, as you went down the peninsula, was there a pretty cool spots that you really liked?
I love Baja. The second, I think I heard Rod when he was talking say as soon as he gets past Ensenada, and my favorite spot is when we get down to Scorpion Bay, running on the beach. It's spectacular there. Anywhere when you're down in Baja and you're on the beach or down towards Laredo, it's beautiful. It's not your true Baja desert. It was so green. And then we spend a lot of time in Mexico kind of going to the orphanages and helping. We bring, every time we go down to Baja, we take a motorhome full of clothes and toys and anything we can. And so we get a lot of gratification of going down to Mexico and trying to help the people of Mexico. They just embrace us, so we want to give them something back.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. There's a lot of guys doing that. Nick Baldwin, some other guys, Cameron Steele, they do the Baja Beach Bash and raising money for the orphanages. And I think that's true. You spend a lot of time down there. I've been down there a lot, and you really see these families that are less fortunate. They don't have a lot of stuff, and it kind of makes you feel giving something back to the land there that you're racing in.
Yeah, it's one of the best things that there is. I mean, the kids, the smiles on their faces, I mean, it's almost better than racing. I mean, they come up to you and welcome you, and when you can give them something and give them a smile, I mean, it's the best.
Well, let's go back to Reno. Let's come back to Reno. A businessman, you got Big O Tire. You're getting ready to open a new store here in Reno, and that helps support your habit, kind of your racing habit.
I work real hard so that I can have this habit. Sometimes I question why I do it, but I always say that it's kind of the dumbest sport there is. It's very expensive to do, and but it's something that I can't give up. I mean, I don't know if it's the challenge, if it's the scenery, if it's the camaraderie. The people of off-road racing are so passionate, and there's this common bond between us that it doesn't matter if you race a motorcycle or if you race a Class 11 car, you race a trophy truck. When you get those guys together, their eyes light up, and there's just something there that draws us all back in. So, I work hard for that reason. So.
Well, I know last year the fireworks, race coming here to your town, and now, the races are here, and you live here, and I know such a neat place to come and visit, and there's so much to do.
Right.
So that's got to be pretty neat as a family man too.
Oh yeah, I mean, our kids, we wakeboard together, we snowboard together. I mean, we're going to maybe take our boat out this weekend. The thing that people don't realize, if they came to this race, they can stay in hotels, their kids can go swimming, their kids can go to water parks, they can go river rafting on the Truckee River. 30 minutes away, they're up at Lake Tahoe. 30 minutes, they're at the race course. And at this race course, Roger has set up a huge tabletop spectating area with a Monster Energy tent and all that, where you're seeing cars all day long because of how the course was set up, with that cloverleaf type of effect. There's constantly action, so it's not like you're sitting in a pit and waiting hours on end for your car to come around. There's stuff happening throughout the day, and I think that's something that off-road racing needs, is that thing that's going to make it spectator friendly. And I think what Roger's done here has certainly started something that I think it could be really big. So.
Now let's talk about you're opening a new store here in Reno, Big O. That opens about the same week that we start racing here.
Yeah, that's why we can't race. Right now we were scheduled to open up the week after the race. It'll be our second location. And we're the contractor as well. We're a general contractor, is one of our other businesses, and so we're actually building that store right now. And it's going to be a kind of a special store. Actually, we actually have like a motorsports kind of area where we're going to have a lot of the local racers. Rod Hall, obviously, Roger Norman. Some other racers, and we're going to kind of feature them in the different kinds of racing that we do here in Reno, because there's tons of motorcycle races here. There's the Virginia City Grand Prix, which is a huge event, as you know.
Right.
They have the Virginia City Hill Climb, which is like Ferraris and Porsches and Corvettes that run up the Virginia City up the hill. So racing is really big in Reno, so we're going to try to embrace that in our new store.
You know, I mean, even air races here. They got PGA golf tournaments.
Right.
So many things that we've talked about. 290, I think, you know, weekends a year. You guys got something going on here in Reno.
And the weather's it's fantastic here. I mean, the race, you know, people in Southern California, they're used to that 115, 110 degrees right now out in the desert. And the high probably for this race might be in the high 90s at the peak of the day. The race starts a little early, so it's cool. We only see a really spike in the temperature for a few hours. Then at night it cools down, and so people are out in t-shirts and shorts. And I even think last year it even got cool enough where people would have a sweatshirt on. So the climate is perfect for this race at this time of the year. So Hot August Nights is just a few weeks prior, and that'll just give you an idea why people come to Reno at this time of the year.
Yeah, and I know, like you talked about, the tabletop out there, the freestyle show, the Monster Energy setup, the VIP center, and the lighting that he put up outside there, like a stadium, and you can see 12 miles of the course. I think that was what was pretty cool last year when you raced there.
It was great. I mean, after I got out of the truck, I got to sit out and watch the race and see a lot of the action, and that's one of the fun things. As a racer, you usually don't get to see any of that, and to be able to get out of the race vehicle and see the cars, see our car come into our main pit 3 different times on a lap, it kept the pit guys in and active without a big demand on pit crews, because it was centralized, so you didn't have to have a ton of support to come race this race. And for guys that are coming from far away, they could probably get away with two chase trucks, maybe 3 chase trucks max, and very affordable to race this race, other than tires.
Right. Well, if you need tires out there, you need to get a hold of Jim here.
Yeah.
Big O Tire. When they come to town, they can get a hold of you, and you'll take care of them.
If they come to Big O Tires, we'll make sure that we take care of them, and we'll set up any racer and help them any way that we can, for sure. If they need it with their race cars, chase trucks, anything, we'll take care of them.
Well, next race for you in the 10 car, what do you think?
Well, we've got the car prepped right now. We're in the process of prepping it for the Baja 1000, and then we'll probably run a full season next year. We're going to probably do a couple other races this year, maybe try to catch Rogers, the HDRA's last race at the end of the year. It just depends on our schedule. We've just been so busy that we may have to just kind of hold it off till next year to really hit it hard again.
Get those stores going and making sure that's all working, and enjoying Reno at the same time. So.
Absolutely.
Well, Jim, we want to thank you very much. Jim Anderson joining us here on Dirt Live.
Thanks,
Another
George.
local guy here from Reno. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back after this commercial. Dirt Live.
Hello, my name is Pat Dean. I'm the owner of Butch's Speed Shop, which I purchased in 2007 from my father, Butch Dean. We've just done an awesome renovation of the store to carry all lines of high-performance off-road parts. And I'd love for you to come inside and check us out.
The El Dorado Reno 500 and Dirt Live Off-Road Expo and Vehicle Demonstration combined with off-road racing in Reno, Nevada, July 7th through the 13th. Come enjoy this jam-packed week of Monster Freestyle Motocross, Ninja Stunt Bike Team with a 2-day off-road explosion and race tech under the famous arch in downtown Reno. Unlimited pre-running starts Sunday, July 7th with free off-road expo. Standard entry fees, no increase for this big race. Arrive and drive race programs are available through Wide Open Excursions. For complete details, visit hdarace.com or dirtliveexpo.com. All events are free.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with Rick Murdock, the Vice President here at the El Dorado Hotel Casino. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Well, you know, last year this all started with the race we had here a year ago, right here in Reno, and you guys pretty much fell in love with the HDRA Racing Series and what took place here in Reno.
Well, you know, it was really neat because Roger and Elise, Norman, with Brett Fenimore came to us and said, hey, what do you think about closing downtown? We're going to do a 500-mile race out here on a private track. What do you think about that? And we want to use downtown Reno as our headquarters and do our contingency. And we thought, well, yeah, that sounds great, but what is it? You know, and then all of a sudden, wow, we did it. The cars came down. What a turnout.
You know, and besides the cars and everything, the fans, you had vendors out there, barbecues going on, and it's incredible. I've never, in all my years, seen anything like it. I know I talked last year to you about it, about what the town really opened up to this off-road racing.
Well, you know, it's something that Reno's a natural because we got obviously a lot of desert land that's perfect for racing, but to come downtown in a city and be able to own the streets, all the best cars were down here, all the vendors, as you mentioned, and you get to touch and feel the drivers. I think the drivers love it because they can relax and have a little fun and show their cars off. And you know, it's a one big party. It's kind of what it is. And then you bring, you know, the monster folks come in with their stunt teams, and you add that component, and boy, what a show it is down here.
Yeah, really put on a great show all week down here, even at the race out at the venue on Saturday.
Well, I think this venue, I think the race is really why we got involved. You know, the El Dorado Reno 500. That was the initial reason we got involved with Roger and Elise. But I'll tell you what, this is just, we've now extended the week out, and this is just, I think, feeds the race. I think people come downtown Reno, all the vendors will be here. We mentioned that the BF Goodriches are the, you know, your fuel providers. You'll have a lot of the newer truck and racing people down here. I think what you'll get to is then more people will go out and watch the race. That's why we're here.
Well, let's talk about this year, the new idea. You guys all got together, and we're going to have that Dirt Live Expo all week. It's pretty cool.
You know, we know that a lot of other cities have some different types of show for off-roaders, but we thought, gosh, now that we're closing the street anyway, why not extend it a little earlier into the week, make it an expo. The neat thing about this expo, it's outdoors, so you actually can start the engines up. You can actually do a lot more than you can inside a convention center. So we thought, what kind of a great opportunity would that provide people that want to touch and feel these vehicles and the race cars? So that's, you know, it fits, and we did it.
So we'll start. We got parties going on all week. One at your next door neighbor.
Yeah, our sister hotel, the Legacy, is going to have a wet T-shirt contest. You know, the El Dorado's the headquarters, and we've got a lot of we got some driver VIP areas. I know they do a lot of the meetings here at the El Dorado. We also, we've also got a few other amenities with the restaurants between the El Dorado and the Legacy. You've got the Brew Brothers. You've got Aura over at Legacy. You've got Husson's over at Legacy, and we've got obviously all the bars downtown, Bar Central down in Reno at the El Dorado. So there's always something to do here.
I mean, you can you're indoors inside here and walk from your hotel over to your buddies next door at Silver Legacy.
Oh yeah, you've got almost 2,500 rooms under one roof with the 19 restaurants. It's pretty special. So
I mean, big plans for you guys here. El Dorado joining in and being part of this race this year, just incredible for you guys.
Oh, it is, and we thank again Roger and his team and Brent for allowing us to do this, because it's a win-win. I think we fit their needs, and they certainly gave us an opportunity, and we jumped on it. I think it's the future. I think this event will be so big in Reno. We have another automotive event called Hot August Nights, brings about 6,000 cars to town. And that turned out to be a heck of an event. I think this has the same type of wheels. I think that this could be just as big or bigger.
Well, you know, last year Roger comes here, puts on a race, HDRA success, TV coverage is credible. He buys Score International, and now this is part of the World Championships right here. So the guys raced the Baja 500 a few weeks ago, and now they get double points for this race to get that all-important World Championship.
I believe what Roger's done, and he's created, this is like coming here for the Super Bowl, because you get double points, and he's got that track, and you've got an infrastructure around that track that can support a lot of spectators, and the racers can bring their families, and it's very fair expense-wise to be here in Reno. And I think what you've created is just the Super Bowl here. You come in here, this is where the races are gonna get after it, and the way that he structured it, I think is fantastic.
You know, last year out there at the race, you know, for people watching right now, they had the Monster Energy team out there performing. They also had a VIP area, and you can see 12 miles of the course. I just don't think any other venue's been like that.
Well, and you don't forget the Monster Girls, the ever important Monster Girls. I mean, that is important. But no, what a venue he has out there. And you know, what I love is you get on that freeway and you're out there in 15, 20 minutes. It's not a big drive, and it's easy to get to, and Roger's made it nice. The access is great. I mean, there's no venue like it. I mean, this is the place to be.
Now, you've been here associated for 30 years.
Yes, 30 years.
Is this the last couple of years really starting to pick up for Reno?
To be real honest with you, you haven't been around, you don't get excited about much. This is something very exciting. This is truly something I believe could make Reno very special. HDRA, the race, I think it's fit. The Dirt Live Expo, if you're into any kind of off-roading, this is a place to be.
Well, we appreciate you coming on board and helping out and being the host here for the show for 2 weeks. I mean, this incredible with the video going on behind us, and incredible hotel here at the El Dorado.
We the family is very proud of this hotel. We are family owned and operated. We mentioned that, and they, the mushroom ravioli, you can always get that in our Italian restaurant, the La Strada. We've got a brew pub. Not many casinos have what the El Dorado has, and we've got 800 rooms, beautiful suites. We're our sister hotel, Legacy's, 1,700 rooms. So between the two, what a great place for people to come race, stay, enjoy the whole experience, from the casinos to the street to going out and watching the race. What a great opportunity for people to enjoy themselves.
You know, it's like a whole week, because they can come start practicing on Sunday, and like Tuesday all the way through the week.
All the way through.
They got parties going on here next door, and contingency. They come. You guys are going to have, I know, some great food down there on the street.
Oh yeah.
Cooking up, both you and the Silver Legacy, and it's going to be great.
We've added we've added a celebrity this year. We brought in a guy from Hell's Kitchen, and Robert Hess. He's pretty much a celebrity. We're going to be preparing his famous his new dish that he's going to put on that show, Hell's Kitchen. He's going to bring it out next year, so it's very competitive. But I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I will tell you that pigs can fly.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You're hearing it first right here with the boss, Rick. Great job what you do here. We thank you very much.
And thank
Rick
you.
Murdock,
Thanks
right
for
here.
us.
Thanks for coming on Dirt Live. We're going to take commercial. We'll be right back here on Dirt Live.
For those who pledge allegiance to life, liberty, and the endless pursuit of a damn good time, we have one suggestion. Find your passion in Reno Tahoe, USA. 4 seasons, 1,000 reasons. Visit RenoTahoe.com.
In 1997, Wide Open Excursions created a unique experience unlike anything seen before. Each year, we put thousands of adventure seekers behind the wheel of our off-road race cars. With our roots in northern Baja and the natural expansion to Cabo San Lucas, Wide Open is proud to announce our newest location, Reno, Nevada. making this incredible experience available in the United States. Book your adventure today. Call 949-635-2292 or visit wideopenreno.com.
Hey, welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with another guest, Shelby Hall. Welcome to the show, sweetie.
Thank you.
Well, you know, you come from a history of off-road racing. What's it like to have a grandfather like Rod Hall?
First, it's very fun. Not only do I get to work in the industry, but I get to hang out with him, going to events and racing, and I feel very lucky to be able to do all of the really fun racing stuff that comes along with being Rod's granddaughter.
And growing up, you know, your dad and
Yes.
all that. And your dad is
My dad is Josh Hall.
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, so your uncle's Chad. And
Yes.
What a great family.
Yes.
Well, let's go back. You're now the administrator for the Hall of Fame, Off-Road Hall of Fame, which is really starting to pick up, and it's getting a lot of news. So where did it start from?
It started by a man named Ed Perlman in 1978, and it only ran for about 2 years until 1980, and then it just sat dormant until 2003, and that's when Rod purchased the rights, and we've been inducting ever since. I've been with the Hall of Fame for 4 years now, and there has been quite a few changes, and new people have been brought in, and we have a really excellent board of directors now that's really active, and the last year has been just phenomenal for us. We are really trying to get out there to meet all different people throughout the entire industry. The Hall of Fame is actually the only Hall of Fame that represents people throughout the entire industry. So it's not just racers, it's not just motorcycles, it's the pioneers, it's the journalists, and our people that go out to support our lands. And we feel like it's really important to be able to honor those people, not just the winners.
Even announcers maybe too, huh?
Even announcers, yes.
Okay. So you know, it lets everybody know there's a lot more to it, not just the guys that are racing. I know, you know, promoters and other people that
Yes.
have, you know, through the ranks. So what's it like? I mean, you guys, do you sit, you have meetings and discuss who to pick? It's got to be a tough process to pick.
Well, we actually only get to pick from people that are nominated, and anybody can nominate. It could be you, it could be the president of Ford, it doesn't matter, it can be received by anybody. And we do have a voting committee that changes every year, and we sit in a room for 8 hours and go over every little detail and really look into what that person did to give back to the sport, and really consider why it's better today because they were involved. And I think that is what is a really important highlight that we like to see in people, is really what they've done to give back to the sport and make it what it is today.
You know, we did a show a couple weeks ago with Jerry Herbst was
Yes.
on the show, and very pumped. You know,
Yes.
you guys picked. That wasn't too hard to figure that one out.
Well, no, that one wasn't. But it's never that we just say, oh, Jerry Herbst, he's in. It definitely still goes around the room. And what we try to do with the voting committee is we have different people throughout the whole industry. So we have people in there that don't even know who Jerry is. And so they do have to read the packet, and they say, well, I don't know, what do you think? And so it's not always just because we know who they are doesn't mean that they're going to get in.
Yeah, they kind of talk about it and figure out exactly. Another person, the weatherman, Bob,
Yes.
is in this year.
Yes, that one has been, I think everybody is taking that very excited for it. So, and he was fun to read about. I really enjoy reading through all the packets because I don't know the history from day one. And so many of these guys that get nominated have been around since the beginning of desert racing, or really of enjoying four-wheeling. And so it's so much fun to learn about what all these guys have done, and it's pretty awesome.
Is there any that, you know, don't get looked at, or maybe you thought, hey, I like this one, but the majority doesn't really think so. Is that tough?
Well, it is tough. And we only allow 5 people in, and they can tie. And then we have to do a revote. And so the day is not an easy day.
So this year we know Bob, the weatherman.
Yes.
Jerry Herbst. Can we talk about the other 3?
Oh, sure, yeah. We have the late Larry Berquist.
Oh, wow.
And we have Bob Chandler, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And we have Frank D'Angelo.
That's cool. Frank's been around a long time.
A long
Great
time.
guy.
His packet was so much fun to read. I didn't know that he started out on the tire crew.
Yeah, he was an actual worker.
Yeah.
35 years of plus.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, Larry Berquist, another guy I grew up with.
Yes.
In Southern California, and incredible.
Yes.
Riders. But that's great. I mean, and so you have to pick 5. So how many do you come in this board meeting with? Is there more than like 20 or 30, something like that?
Well, this year, actually, we received the most nomination packets, which was about 20. And I think that it will just continue to grow and grow. It's because we are really focusing our efforts on getting out there. Rod and Willie and myself, we pack up the car and we drive all over to set up our booth just to get out there and talk to people and let them know what we're about. This year we have been really focusing on other areas of the sport besides just desert racing. So we've spent some time with the enthusiasts and just the four-wheelers and the slow crawlers and the motorcycle racers, which has been really beneficial for us, as we did receive nomination packets based off the events that we attended just this year.
Now you pick 5 out of a 20. Let's say you had 20. Do the 15 move on to the next year, or do they just?
They do. A nomination is eligible for 3 years. So if they don't get in the first year, we work with the nominator to kind of help them maybe take out some information that's not necessary, or to highlight information that is more important. And then they will be in the running for another 2 years. If they don't get chosen in the 3 years, they are not eligible for 3 years and then can be renominated.
Because there might have been a guy that was number 6,
Right.
And now he goes in the next year, his stats are pretty cool. It's just he wasn't as good as those top 5 to pick out.
Well, I wouldn't say as good, because everybody has their own qualities.
Right.
And that's why we change the committee every year, because somebody might have a different opinion than the next guy. And so we like to always have fresh eyes. And sometimes it just needs, the nominator didn't know they needed to add what they did to give back to the sport, or they highlight something that isn't as valuable to the committee.
So somebody's watching right now and, hey, I got somebody I'd like to nominate, somebody that really is great in off-road racing. How do they get a hold of you guys?
Well, you can just go to our website, which is ormhoff.org, and you can just download the packet there and fill it out and ship it in.
So you grew up here in Reno.
I did.
And you love it.
I do.
And you're happy that the race is coming here?
I am. I'm thrilled. I actually can't wait. I wasn't able to make it to all the events last year, so I'm really excited to be able to come hang out downtown.
The family race last year. And,
yes, they did.
And with Jim Anderson, which is another local guy. And think you're going to race this year? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I personally will be doing the Fireworks 500, but I will be here supporting and having fun and cheering everybody on.
You'll have a booth set up during the week and all that, maybe?
We might, yes.
Let's talk you into that. So
well,
definitely. So what, you're a young lady that grew up, and when was the first time, how old were you when you got to race off-road?
Well, the first time I got to ride was with my dad, and it was down in Henderson at a Best in the Desert race, and it was so much fun. I was 14 or 15, and I just remember feeling so safe. I was with my dad, and he's an extraordinary driver, and it was just something I never expected it to be. And so then I started riding with Rod 2 years ago, and he is a phenomenal driver as well. He was so much fun to watch. He just is so eased behind the wheel, and just he's having so much fun with it. You know, he's never cursing or getting upset. He's always in control. And I thought, God, he makes this look so easy. I can't wait to get behind the wheel.
Be that cool, you know?
And same thing, I just always felt so safe. And a couple times he would maybe have a little bit too much speed for whatever obstacle, and he would just say, whoa, well, let's not do that one again.
Right.
And just never a negative thing.
You got a couple of crazy, real short stories with him?
Yes, well, in Mexico last year for the 1,000, the drive time was split up between Rod, me, and Damien. And Rod, he would get out of the race car and refuse to let anybody drive him in a chase car. So he was literally up driving the whole time. So this year, we are at our race meeting and we're getting ready for what we're gonna do, and we're talking about the 1,000. And Rod says, okay, you guys, this year I am not driving a chase car. And everyone kind of said, well, Rod, we tried to get in there and drive and you wouldn't let us. And he said, well then, well then you better bring handcuffs and you don't let me drive. So he's just so serious about it, and when it comes to driving, he's in charge.
Well, Shelby, we want to thank you very much for joining us
Thank you.
here on Dirt Live, and keep up the good work.
Thank
for
you.
that Hall of Fame, and thank you very much. Once again, Shelby Hall here on Dirt Live. We're going to a commercial. We'll be right back.
The El Dorado Reno 500 and Dirt Live Off-Road Expo and Vehicle Demonstration combined with off-road racing in Reno, Nevada, July 7th through the 13th. Come enjoy this jam-packed week of Monster Freestyle Motocross, Ninja Stunt Bike Team with a 2-day off-road explosion and race tech under the famous arch in downtown Reno. Unlimited pre-running starts Sunday, July 7th with free off-road expo. Standard entry fees, no increase for this big race. Arrive and drive race programs are available through Wide Open Excursions. For complete details, visit hdarace.com or dirtliveexpo.com. All events are free.
Hello, my name is Pat Dean. I'm the owner of Butch's Beat Shop, which I purchased in 2007 from my father, Butch Dean. We've just done an awesome renovation of the store to carry all lines of high-performance off-road parts. And I'd love for you to come inside and check us out.
Hey, welcome back once again to Dirt Live. Well, that's about it for this show. We want to thank our special guests, Jim Anderson, Rick Murdock, and Shelby Hall. We'll see you next week right here in Reno once again, getting ready for the Reno 500. We'll be out of here. Thank you very much for joining us, our fans, our crew. See you next week.
Dirt Live is brought to you in part by Wide Open Excursions. It's your turn to drive. Dirt Live, promoting racers one interview at a time.